You're going to be in town tonight for the Bills Mafia Origin Story, live presented by Labatt. You're going to be right downtown at Electric City with Stevie Johnson. And first question out of the chute, I mean, you got to still chuckle at the fact that, you know, this was totally unintentional on your part, but here you are inadvertently becoming a part of the dawn of Bills Mafia. How does that still sit with you so many years later here?
Well, that is exactly it. Again, when it happened, it was totally unintentional. Had no idea it was happening. Had no idea that it would turn into a movement. And even though it was unintentional, and even though there was nothing intended by it, I guess it's turned out to be probably one of the great honors of my career, which I never would have imagined.
Yeah.
Just hitting the retweet button 24 hours later on a Stevie Johnson tweet. But here we are. What year was that? That was 2010.
10, yeah.
So here we are 15 years later, and I'm in a car right now on my way to Buffalo to host an event that's going to benefit, the Buffalo YMCA and Breakthrough Type 1 Diabetes, and do some good for some organizations and have a laugh at how 15 years have gone by since the unintentional creation of Bills Mafia.
How long did it take before you, put your phone down and looked around and said, what just happened here? How long did that take? I mean, it didn't seem like it was very long.
If I remember correctly, again, we're talking 15 years ago, and I didn't think anything of it at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't like I was documenting it or paying attention. But I would say I started noticing some very profane tweets being directed at me right away. And I'm like, okay, again, my rule always is, if somebody is using profane language, then they get blocked. I'm just not going to tolerate that. That's supposed to be a space where people are just engaged and having some fun and exchanging. But when it gets a little personal,
right?
If it does get personal, my theory is, okay, I'm not going to stand you. You're out of my life, basically, And so if it's offensive, and there were a ton of offensive tweets, and then it got to the point where I'm like, okay, anything that anybody's involved in this, I'm blocking you all.
Right.
So, leave me alone.
And you already mentioned that tonight's event will go towards helping some good causes, and to see that Bills Mafia is not just the moniker of the Bills fan base now and is known nationwide, but they're also known for giving back, whether it's to opponents their teams beat in the playoffs or to Andy Dalton for helping them get in the playoffs and donating to his charity. What have you made of that part of Bills Mafia that's done so much for good causes?
Well, it's funny you say that because there is a situation where, my wife is a type 1 diabetic. And so, I asked for some of the funds tonight to be donated to Breakthrough Type 1. And it was pointed out to me that two Bills fans, Nicholas Howard and Ryan Patata, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Ryan Patata, they're going to be in the audience tonight. And they created the Baltimore Ravens Mark Andrews GoFundMe campaign in January, which raised about $147,000 to benefit Breakthrough Type 1 Diabetes for T1D research. So special shout out to Nicholas Howard and Ryan Patata. And obviously, Bills Mafia has done a lot of good. And tonight will do a lot of good. And it continues to do a lot of good and pay things forward.
Give us an idea of what your schedule's like. I mean, the draft is, it's a tentpole event in the NFL, and you got your hand on the pulse of everything. Are you going to how closely do you keep the pulse of, the contract signings and what's going to happen here? There's kind of a dead period for fans in the NFL with the hockey playoffs, the NHL and the NBA playoffs and all that, but the NFL kind of never sleeps, right?
Well, maybe fans don't care quite as much, and maybe they're involved in the hockey and basketball playoffs, but my job is my job, and my job is always to chart that. And I will say that this is my favorite time of the year because it's certainly slower. I don't have to be in Bristol, Connecticut, every weekend. I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. on Sunday and stay up all night charting injuries on Saturdays, and can kind of spend time with family and enjoy a relatively calm couple of months. But there are things that happen in the NFL every single day, it seems like, and even in slower times, it's still busy. Like if we go back over this week, yesterday the Atlanta Falcons were fined $250,000. Their defensive coordinator was fined $100,000. We got teams deciding on fifth-year options. Elijah Moore signs with Buffalo. Quiet day, right? Just
Right.
another regular day in the National Football League.
Right.
Yeah, let's talk about that Elijah Moore deal because, the Bills haven't confirmed it yet. They're going to wait for pen to be put to paper. But, you look at that, and he's kind of a slot guy for the most part, although he has played outside for Cleveland. How do you see that fit here, knowing Khalil Shakir is kind of the entrenched slot guy?
Well, I think, again, it's a low-risk deal on a wide receiver who's got some upside. And I know that Bills fans seem to want Brandon Beane, as he pointed out, to take a wide receiver early on. And they didn't get a wide receiver, but they helped the defense. They dedicated the draft to the defense and got some really good young talent in there. And when they didn't get the wide receiver, they went out in free agency and and signed a wide receiver or reached agreement with a wide receiver that has some potential. It can help this offense and should fit right in with all the other wide receivers that they already have. I mean, they have so many that there's not room for all of them right now.
Yeah.
All right. So give us a little rundown of when you get into town and what's going to happen. What's your agenda for tonight?
Whatever they tell me to do, honestly. The Bills have planned this. I'm on their time. I'm at their mercy. They have a schedule for me. I know I get in. I know I've got to make a bunch of calls. Again, you point out the quiet time, but there's some people that I have to speak to today. Obviously, I have to fly in, and then I think somebody from the Bills. I'm meeting at 5:00, and we're getting the activities underway, and they go till about 9:00, and then I've got a 5 a.m. flight home tomorrow morning. So It's kind of a whirlwind.
Yeah. Well, Adam, appreciate you giving us some of your time on a busy travel day, and I know Bills Mafia is looking forward to seeing you in the flesh tonight with Stevie. So safe travels to you.
Yeah, it's a celebration of Bills Mafia tonight. We look forward to it, raising money for a great cause. It's an honor to be there, and look forward to meeting everybody tonight in Buffalo.